If you don't know Syd Mead by name, your life will probably still have been shaped by the things that he worked on. He has worked on a massive number of projects across all sorts of different fields. He has even had a skin of his added to CSGO. I'd like to talk about his life and his many accomplishments in this video, and from what I've learned about him, he seems like quite a character. His dad used to read him Pulp Fiction magazines, which sparked his interest in science fiction. He started drawing when he was 3, then when he finished school he attended the Art Center School in Los Angeles. He learned how to quickly transform an idea into a picture, then how to schedule his work so that it could be done by the deadline. All stuff that put him in good stead for the future. In one of his first terms there, he chose to do a rendering of the Mercury Turnpike Cruiser, which he loved, and later in his life bought one of his own. Although throughout his career he worked on all kinds of vehicles including yachts and aircraft, he said that cars were his favourite. His preferred style of concept art is a type of watercolour known as gouache, and says it photographs beautifully. Having graduated, he worked for Ford Motor Company's Advanced Styling Studio, where he was able to put his skills to work, envisioning future car designs for the company, like the Gyron, a two-wheeled car, I assume using a gyroscope to keep it from tipping over. He worked here for 2 years, and of all the things he worked on, the one that stood out to him was a fully functional pickup truck of the future, complete with air conditioning. This kind of job sounds like an excellent practical application for somebody with a fascination for sci-fi. But he left because he realised that most of his concepts would never reach the production line, and went off to explore the ever-expanding world of industrial design. He illustrated books and catalogues for other companies, eventually setting up his own, where he provided architectural renderings for a number of companies including Philips Electronics. And he also worked on a number of films, many of which I'm sure you're familiar with. In 1979, Star Trek The Motion Picture was made, and it featured the Voyager ship, by far the largest vessel ever portrayed in the series. But not even the scriptwriters knew what it was meant to look like. It was meant to be something man had never seen before, which he says is all well and good, but it's an easy way out. Not surprisingly, throughout production they had problems with its design, and it was threatening the movie's release schedule. The original designs were scrapped, and Syd Mead hired to visualise a new version that could somehow do justice to such an ambitious, yet vague concept. He settled on something physical, but also crystallised. It ended up taking the form of a luminous cloud the size of a solar system, 300 million kilometres across. The crew constructed a 60-foot model, working around the clock to get it done in time. At points, they'd be working on one end of it, while the other end was being photographed. It would take up to 18 hours to film a flyby of this colossal thing. How it appeared in the movie is exactly how he had envisioned it, right down to the bands of light. The same year he also worked on Alien, then later Aliens. He also designed most of the cars in Tron, though I've got to say, they look interestingly similar to Blade Runner's spinner vehicle when viewed from the side, which he also worked on. With Blade Runner he started with the cars. Ridley Scott liked them so much that he got him to work on other aspects of the film as well. Over on his site, linked to in the description, you can check out a large amount of his concept art in the gallery section. He also did a sketch of the Teletubbies, but I don't think it was too serious. Over the years, he worked on all kinds of other films as well, including 2010, which is a sequel to 2001, Mission Impossible, Elysium, and more recently, Blade Runner 2049. The original Blade Runner was set in the year 2019, so we actually got to see how reality compared to his vision of the future. Watching interviews of him, he has repeatedly stated that he applies whatever he has learned previously to each new project that he works on. Some people have told him that he changed their lives, and hearing that makes him very proud. He continued to have an active schedule of one-man shows for a long time, selling out tickets all over the place, and with over 50 years experience in the industry, he finally had the confidence to say, if the client doesn't like it, then they're wrong. If you must know, his favourite food is lobster ravioli, and his favourite colour, Cherenkov blue. He has no doubt inspired countless other projects, vehicles and movies. You probably know the Asimov skin collection in CSGO. These were made by Coridium, but in interviews, while the name is inspired by the sci-fi writer Isaac Asimov, he also listed the likes of Syd Mead as inspiration for the design. And, in the Gamma 2 case, there's an org known as the Syd Mead. And yes, he worked on this as well. Released in 2016, he'd have been 83 at the time, possibly being the oldest skin maker ever to have his work featured. As you can imagine, working with Syd Mead, the process is a little bit different from with other skin makers. He didn't upload it to the workshop for a start. I'm not even sure he's got a Steam account, though honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if he did. This made reaching out to contact him a bit different too. I sent him off an email, and he responded with a lovely little message which I've been figuring out how to include in a video ever since. You'll also notice he forwarded it onto Roger Servick, who's his lifelong friend, colleague, and partner. I've blanked out the payment conditions just in case, but it was handled a little differently to other user-made skins. But he detailed how he got involved with the project, how his first designs were too graphical, and the issues he had with lining it all up. Something he hadn't had to do since the early 90s. He said the experience was fascinating, that each new challenge uses prior experience in some way, and says that's why it's so important that you take a chance on new kinds of involvements. If you stick to the same thing over and over, once that particular design challenge stops, you're screwed. He announced his retirement just a few months ago, and on December the 30th, 2019, he died at the age of 86. So thank you, Syd Mead, for dedicating your life to shaping the future. He once said he saw science fiction as reality ahead of schedule, and I think it's fitting that, if you check the description of his weapon design in CSGO, it reads, "In the past, he gave us visions of the future. In the present, he placed the future in our hands."